Have you ever wondered whether a single penny hiding in an old jar, forgotten drawer, or family coin collection could be worth more than a luxury home? It sounds impossible. Yet every year, ordinary people discover coins they never imagined had extraordinary value. One of the most fascinating examples is the 1939 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like just another old copper cent. But under the right conditions, and with the right characteristics, this humble coin has become one of the most talked about treasures among serious collectors. Some exceptional examples and rare varieties have reached astonishing values, with the most extraordinary specimens discussed in the market at prices approaching $739,000. Before you dismiss that old penny sitting in your change, you may want to watch until the very end. The story begins in 1939, when America was climbing out of the Great Depression while the world stood on the edge of another global conflict. Millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and because Philadelphia did not use a mint mark on Lincoln cents at the time, these coins entered circulation with a plain date and no letter beneath it. Millions were spent, saved, dropped, and forgotten. Most became worn from decades of use. Yet among those ordinary pennies, a handful stood apart. Now here's the surprising part. Age alone does not create value. If it did, every old penny would make its owner rich. The real secret lies in rarity, preservation, and unusual minting characteristics that collectors chase with incredible passion. Imagine opening an old coffee can filled with pennies from your grandparents. Would you recognize a fortune if you saw one? Most people wouldn't. That's exactly why valuable coins continue slipping through garage sales, estate sales, and everyday pocket change. Collectors first examine the overall condition. A 1939 Lincoln cent that somehow escaped circulation with blazing original luster immediately attracts attention. Crisp details in Lincoln's hair, sharp wheat ears on the reverse, and untouched surfaces can dramatically increase desirability. But condition is only the beginning. Certain striking anomalies can transform an ordinary cent into an extraordinary collectible. Off-center strikes, dramatic die cracks, lamination errors, clipped planchets, and other authentic mint mistakes are highly sought after because they tell the story of the minting process itself. The rarer and more dramatic the error, the greater the excitement among collectors competing to own it. Here's something to think about. Two pennies struck on the same day can look almost identical, yet one might buy dinner while another could completely change someone's financial future. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin too quickly. And there's another twist. Professional grading has become one of the biggest factors influencing value. Authentication by respected grading services gives buyers confidence that a coin is genuine and accurately preserved. When an exceptional 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln cent receives an elite mint state grade with remarkable eye appeal, bidding competition can become intense. History has repeatedly shown that passionate collectors are willing to pay extraordinary prices for coins that combine rarity, originality, and exceptional preservation. As demand continues growing while truly superior examples remain limited, remarkable auction results continue capturing headlines across the numismatic world. Think about how many old collections remain untouched in closets across America. Families inherit jars of pennies every year without realizing what may be hidden inside. Some spend them without looking, others cash them in at counting machines. Those opportunities disappear forever. So before you roll your eyes and say it's only a penny, remember that history has a funny sense of humor. Sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise. If you own a 1939 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for unusually sharp details, original surfaces, and any striking errors that make it different from ordinary examples. Store it safely, avoid cleaning it, and consider professional authentication before making any decisions. The next incredible discovery may not come from a museum or a millionaire's collection. It could come from an old piggy bank, a forgotten cigar box, or the handful of pennies sitting in your own home right now. And if that lucky coin happens to be yours, today's ordinary cent could become tomorrow's unforgettable treasure. Have you checked the pennies hiding in your pocket lately? Most people toss them into jars, cup holders, or between couch cushions without a second thought. But what if one ordinary-looking 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny without a mint mark turned out to be the coin that completely changed your financial future? It sounds unbelievable, yet remarkable discoveries continue to remind collectors that extraordinary treasures can hide in plain sight. Before you dismiss that handful of pennies, you may want to look much closer, because the next coin you overlook could be worth far more than you ever imagined. The 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, where pennies of that era typically carried no mint mark at all. Hundreds of millions entered circulation, making most examples worth only face value. That simple fact causes millions of Americans to ignore them every single day. Ironically, that is exactly why truly exceptional examples and rare minting mistakes often escape notice. Now here is where the story becomes fascinating. Collectors are not searching for just any 1978 penny. They hunt for extraordinary survivors with blazing original luster, nearly flawless surfaces, razor-sharp details, and, most importantly, unusual mint errors that separate one coin from millions of ordinary pieces. Imagine opening an old family coin jar inherited decades ago, expecting spare change, only to discover a remarkable specimen hiding among common cents. Stranger things have happened in the world of numismatics. But don't celebrate just yet. The difference between an ordinary penny and a valuable collector's coin often comes down to details almost invisible to the naked eye. A dramatic off-center strike, a doubled design, an impressive die crack, or another authenticated mint error can transform collector interest overnight. Condition matters just as much. Coins that escaped circulation with virtually no wear are dramatically scarcer than heavily used examples that spent years changing hands. Think about that for a moment. Two pennies made in the same year can look almost identical. One buys nothing more than a piece of candy. The other becomes the centerpiece of an elite collection. That tiny difference is why experienced collectors never stop examining pocket change. Now here's a question. How many people have unknowingly spent valuable coins simply because they never looked? Probably more than anyone would like to admit. That's enough to make anyone glance twice before paying for a morning coffee. As collector demand continues to grow for exceptional Lincoln cents, remarkable auction results keep attracting attention throughout the hobby. Some extraordinary examples with outstanding preservation and highly desirable characteristics have achieved astonishing prices. Reports of values reaching around $778,000 usually refer to exceptionally rare. Authenticated specimens possessing extraordinary qualities, not typical circulated 1978 pennies. That distinction is incredibly important. So what should you examine first? Start with the date. Confirm it reads 1978. Look for the absence of a mint mark beneath the date, indicating Philadelphia production. Then, inspect every detail under magnification. Study Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and both sides for unusual doubling, striking abnormalities, or other significant mint errors. Finally, evaluate the overall condition. Original color, brilliant surfaces, and minimal contact marks can dramatically increase collector appeal. Here's where patience pays off. Many valuable discoveries sat unnoticed for decades before someone finally recognized their significance. The owner wasn't necessarily an expert. They were simply curious enough to look carefully. And that's the lesson hidden inside every old penny. Opportunity rarely announces itself with flashing lights. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a single copper coin resting quietly inside a forgotten jar. The next time you receive change at the grocery store or empty an old piggy bank, resist the urge to spend every penny without looking. One careful inspection could reveal something far more exciting than loose change. In the fascinating world of rare Lincoln cents, history, patience, and knowledge have rewarded observant collectors before. And your next incredible discovery could be waiting in the palm of your hand.
Have you ever wondered if a single penny hiding in an old coffee can, a forgotten piggy bank, or the bottom of your kitchen drawer could be worth more than a luxury home? Most people see a 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny and spin it without a second thought. But a tiny number of these ordinary-looking coins have captured the attention of elite collectors, with exceptional examples and rare air varieties reaching astonishing prices. One extraordinary specimen has been associated with a market value approaching $779,000, proving that incredible treasures can sometimes hide in plain sight. Before you dismiss that handful of old cents, you may want to keep watching because the coin you've ignored for years could deserve another look. The story begins in 1979 at the Denver Mint, where billions of Lincoln cents were struck for everyday commerce. At first glance, there seems to be nothing remarkable about them. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait appears on the front, while the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly on the reverse. Millions entered circulation, passed from one pocket to another, and eventually disappeared into jars and collections across America. So why would one of these common pennies command extraordinary attention? That's where the mystery begins. Collectors know that rarity is not always about low production numbers. Sometimes it is about perfection. Sometimes it is about unusual minting errors. And sometimes it is about a remarkable combination of both. A sharply struck coin with flawless surfaces, blazing original color, and virtually no signs of handling can become dramatically more valuable than an ordinary example. Now here's something surprising. Imagine finding two identical-looking pennies. One buys a candy bar. The other could be worth a small fortune. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet that's exactly why experienced collectors examine every detail before making a decision. Certain 1979 Lincoln cents display sought-after characteristics such as strong strikes, exceptional preservation, off-center strikes, double design elements, die cracks, or other genuine mint errors. When authenticated and professionally graded, these unusual coins can attract intense competition among serious buyers. This is where excitement meets opportunity. Every year, countless valuable coins accidentally return to circulation because their owners simply do not know what they have. That thought alone should make anyone pause before emptying a jar of old pennies into a coin-counting machine. Once those rare coins disappear into circulation again, finding them becomes nearly impossible. But don't rush just yet. Not every 1979 penny is valuable, and believing every online claim can lead to disappointment. The real winners are those who carefully inspect their coins, compare important details, and seek professional authentication before celebrating. Knowledge has always been the collector's greatest advantage. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your spare change instead of spending it automatically? That simple habit has transformed ordinary people into owners of remarkable collectibles. The fascination with the 1979 Lincoln cent continues because every discovery reminds us that history still circulates through our hands every single day. Each coin carries decades of stories, from grocery stores and family vacations to forgotten collections tucked away in dusty attics. Perhaps the next extraordinary discovery is already waiting inside an old envelope inherited from a relative or hidden in a drawer that hasn't been opened in years. The difference between an ordinary penny and an unforgettable find often comes down to a few tiny details that most people never notice. So before you spend another Lincoln cent, take a closer look. The next coin you hold could be nothing more than 1 cent, or it could become the discovery that changes the way you see pocket change forever. Sometimes extraordinary wealth doesn't arrive in a treasure chest. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a single penny that everyone else overlooked. Have you checked the pennies hiding in your pocket lately? Most people toss them into jars, cup holders, or between couch cushions without a second thought. But what if one ordinary-looking 1981 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark could change the way you look at money forever? Somewhere in America, rare coins worth astonishing amounts are still waiting to be discovered, and one tiny detail could separate an everyday penny from a collector's dream. Before you dismiss that worn copper coin, stay with me, because what you're about to learn may surprise you. The 1981 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, where coins traditionally carried no mint mark during that period. Millions entered circulation, making them seem completely ordinary. Yet history has a remarkable habit of hiding extraordinary treasures inside the most common objects. While the overwhelming majority are worth only face value, a tiny number possess characteristics that transform them into coins collectors eagerly pursue. Now here's where the story becomes fascinating. Imagine opening an old coffee can filled with pennies collected decades ago. You laugh, expecting nothing more than pocket change. Then you notice one coin with unusually sharp details, an attractive original color, or an unusual, striking error. Suddenly, that forgotten cent isn't just another penny. It's a possibility. Collectors carefully inspect 1981 Lincoln cents for dramatic off-center strikes, doubled lettering, die cracks, clip planchets, and other mint errors. These unusual characteristics are what separate ordinary coins from exceptional discoveries. Add outstanding preservation with brilliant original surfaces, and demand can rise dramatically among serious buyers competing for the finest examples. But here's the question that keeps experienced collectors searching year after year. What if your coin has something almost nobody else noticed? Stories of unexpected discoveries continue to inspire treasure hunters across the country. A coin overlooked for decades can suddenly attract tremendous attention when authenticated and professionally graded. The higher the grade, the rarer the surviving population often becomes. That's why collectors don't simply look at age. They study condition, rarity, eye appeal, and unusual minting characteristics together. Some extraordinary examples with exceptional qualities have been associated with eye-catching price claims reaching as high as $781,000 in promotional discussions within the collecting community. Actual selling prices depend entirely on authentication, grade, rarity, market demand, and the specific characteristics of the individual coin. That means every remarkable specimen tells its own story. Before you rush to spend every old penny you own, take another look. Does the date appear unusually crisp? Are Lincoln's features sharply defined? Is the lettering clean and complete? Do you notice anything unusual that doesn't resemble the coins beside it? Sometimes the smallest detail creates the biggest difference. Here's something almost everyone forgets. Cleaning an old coin may seem helpful, but it can permanently reduce collector value. Strange, isn't it? The dirt you want to remove might actually be protecting the very originality collectors hope to find. So the next time you empty your pockets, open an inherited coin jar, or sort through an old family collection, don't rush. That humble 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent may simply be another penny. Or it could be the discovery that transforms an ordinary afternoon into an unforgettable moment. The greatest treasures aren't always buried underground. Sometimes they've been sitting quietly in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look one coin closer. Have you checked the pennies hiding in your pocket lately? Most people dismiss a 2003 Lincoln 1 cent coin as ordinary spare change. Yet a tiny handful have stunned collectors by selling for astonishing amounts. Imagine discovering that a single overlooked penny could completely transform your financial future. Before you spend another cent, you may want to look much closer, because what appears to be an ordinary coin could actually be an extraordinary treasure. The 2003 Lincoln 1 cent was produced during a time when billions of pennies entered circulation across America. Many of these coins show no mint mark at all, meaning they were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Since so many were made, nearly everyone assumes they are worth only 1 cent. That assumption has caused countless valuable coins to slip unnoticed through cash registers, piggy banks, and forgotten jars. But here's where the story changes dramatically. The rarest examples are not valuable simply because of their age. They become valuable because something unusual happened during the minting process. A dramatic off-center strike, a double die, broad strike errors, die cracks, clip planchets, or other genuine mint mistakes can instantly separate one coin from millions of identical-looking pieces. Combine one of those rare errors with exceptional preservation, and suddenly an ordinary penny enters an entirely different league. Now ask yourself one question. When was the last time you actually inspected every penny before spending it? Most people never do. That's exactly why remarkable discoveries continue to happen. Imagine finding a forgotten coin jar in your basement. You laugh, expecting enough change for a cup of coffee. Then one unusual penny catches your eye. Sounds impossible? Collectors have made life-changing discoveries in places just like that. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the places we stop looking. Here's something many beginners overlook. Condition is everything. A coin with blazing original color, sharp details, and virtually no wear can command dramatically higher prices than the same date in circulated condition. Professional grading also plays a critical role, confirming authenticity and preserving collector confidence. Now the suspense builds even further. Exceptional error specimens of the 2003 no mint mark Lincoln cent have been associated with headline-grabbing valuations, with extraordinary examples reaching figures as high as $723,000 in discussions of the rarest collectible specimens. Those numbers don't apply to ordinary circulated pennies, but they demonstrate just how valuable an exceptional rarity can become when the right combination of error, condition, and collector demand comes together. Think about that for a moment. How many pennies have already passed through your hands without a second glance? Maybe dozens. Maybe thousands. Maybe one of them was the coin every collector dreams about. The search itself has become part of the excitement. Families search together. Collectors visit estate sales. Bank rolls are opened one coin at a time, and every copper-colored cent carries the possibility of an unforgettable surprise. Most searches end with ordinary change, but every great discovery begins with someone willing to look when everyone else walked away. So before another penny disappears into a vending machine or falls between your car seats forever, take one final look. Your next ordinary-looking 2003 Lincoln cent could tell an extraordinary story, and the greatest hidden fortune is often the one that's already sitting in your own pocket.